Hi, as many of you know, I'm Noelle, and this is my case presentation for Judy's 658 class. If you are not in this class, I ask that you don't watch this video, as it does contain some confidential information about a client I have been working with. So the client I chose to do my case presentation on, I will refer to as Ashley for the duration of the case, just to protect her confidentiality. She is a 15-year-old sophomore student at Homestead High School in Cupertino. She has been struggling with some anxiety and depression, and academically that is taking a huge toll on her success at school. She came to my attention because she had recently, this school year, come off of a hospitalization from last school year and had not been connected with the school very much after her first semester of freshman year. So it was a bit of a transition for her to make, and the school thought it would be good for her to receive some counseling services since her anxiety kind of started to get worse after the first couple months of school. She is a Mexican-American student whose mother only speaks Spanish. She has 3 younger siblings and an older sister who actually recently just passed away, which has made her anxiety much worse, and actually brought a little bit more about her mental illness to the light. I came to find out recently that she also suffers from PTSD from some abuse and different substance abuse issues that happened within her home while she was younger. Given that her older sister just passed away, Ashley has become the main translator for her mother, which is difficult because Ashley actually was raised only having people speak Spanish to her and not having to really gather the skills to translate. Her oldest sister was her main support system as well, and was the only person who actually supported Ashley with her mental illness and wanted to see some sort of recovery from that, instead of placing all of the blame on Ashley and her inability to self-manage and self-regulate. The family also is very religious, so that plays an important role in Ashley's mental illness and her case, and the way her family kind of views her panic attacks and different issues. Like I said, Ashley's academics have been suffering. She typically scores well on the state tests and gets good grades. She is current with her school credits, but this year her grades have continued to drop, and she is at risk of not securing all of her credits for this school year, meaning she will be behind in graduation credits, which could come back and cause her not to graduate as she progresses through high school. Currently, due to Ashley's situation, a special education assessment has been planned. She is thought to qualify under emotionally disturbed, since it has such a high impact on her academics and her ability to be within a classroom environment. I have come to find out through my interactions with Ashley that a lot of her triggers are based on being in small spaces with a lot of people and loud noises, all of which have to happen or tend to happen within classroom settings. So that makes it very difficult for her to stay within a classroom. So the intervention, Ashley was brought to me in about October of this school year with plans to do some counseling and work on coping strategies and self-management skills for her to remain in a classroom. This has shown some improvement, but with the recent loss, and there actually is some impending loss as well. Both of Ashley's aunts are on hospice care and have terminal illnesses, so there's some kind of impending grief going on for her as well. But through us working together, There was some improvement seen, although it was slight and it kind of came in waves. Ashley would have good weeks and then she would have bad weeks, and there was not really a lot of regulation happening and stability happening for her. Ashley did report being able to self-manage better and kind of compartmentalize her anxiety and thoughts that she is having. So it helped her not have to leave the classroom as often, but she still was experiencing intense anxiety and often needed to go home or would require meeting with me for an hour to an hour and a half during the day in fits of crying. So that's kind of where the push for special education came in, especially given the recent loss and the impending loss of her two aunts. At the high school, we have a therapeutic elective class that kind of does group and individual counseling, as well as different resiliency skills and life skills and transition from high school into further into college and other life decisions. So Ashley actually has been placed in this therapeutic elective class, although she has not yet been assessed for special education. And the therapeutic elective class is usually only used for special education students, but given the severity of Ashley's symptoms and her need, we have decided to do almost a response to intervention sort of assessment by placing her in the classroom while we wait to get her actual assessment process started. We have also switched her math classes to allow her a little bit more of an ease in her academic scheduling. So Ashley's diagnosis is post-traumatic stress disorder and panic disorder with agoraphobia, which the literature actually has found to have a high comorbidity, oh my goodness, I'm sorry. This means that they're often found together, and when one comes with the other, typically there is a higher likelihood for that individuals who experience the symptoms and problems from both of these disorders for a longer lifespan. PTSD and panic disorder with agoraphobia often interfere with academic performance. That has also been portrayed within the literature and usually requires some sort of special intervention or counseling strategies to help the student almost reclaim what they have lost in their trauma. Special education services for Ashley would offer the types of interventions outlined in the literature, such as having more of a wraparound team to provide services within the classroom, group and individual therapy, being able to focus, bring meaning to the trauma that was experienced is very important, and being able to kind of pull out the things that might have been lost in that trauma, both personal aspects such as academic functioning or being able to pull themselves out of the role. For example, Ashley experienced a lot of abuse between her mother and father, especially due to his substance abuse issues, where Ashley feels she does not have control of the situation and cannot protect her mother. That tends to come out now when Ashley feels like she has no control over her anxiety and cannot do anything to help it or help herself. She also experiences intense anxiety when she knows her mother will be alone during the day. It almost comes across as an attachment disorder. Ashley cannot even stand to think about her mother being alone, and becomes very overwhelmed by the thought of Ashley or of her mother not having someone there to protect her throughout the day, although she is out running errands or at work. A main policy that impacts Ashley is Public Law 94-142, which is also known as the Education for All Handicapped Children's Act of 1975. Basically, this outlines the provisions for special education and would require Ashley to receive services based on her emotional disability. This policy is very important for Ashley because long-term counseling services are not offered at Homestead High School. They believe that students should only receive academic counseling if it is going to be for the 6-week grading period and is going to impact their academics positively. So for example, Ashley's intervention was initially set up for me to meet with her for 6 weeks and be able to manage her anxiety enough for her to be able to stay in the classroom and actually show academic performance. Because this intervention was not working, and given the severity of Ashley's symptoms, she was given a longer counseling schedule with me, but that is not typical of what happens at Homestead High School. So this Public Law 94-142 basically provides an outline of how services are delivered in special education, what the qualifications are, and basically says that students who qualify are required to receive services and quality services that are going to benefit them and their academics. This also allows Ashley to have an individualized education plan put in place, which will provide her modifications and accommodations within the classroom, meaning she can take her tests outside of the classroom, break it into 2 parts, be allowed extra time, and will provide her the opportunity to fully participate in the therapeutic elective class as well as the therapeutic elective English course that we have at Homestead High School. Through the literature, we have found that these therapeutic style of classrooms have been helpful as they offer a more controlled environment with more one-on-one help that has really benefited these students, although literature has not completely looked at the real benefit of special education and the ways that is set up within schools. Ashley currently is just starting her special education assessment and just started the therapeutic elective class, so it will definitely be interesting to explore the changes she was making and the positive impact that is having on her. One therapeutic technique that I was hoping to try with her, although I'm not sure I'm going to, is grief-focused and interactive trauma therapy. This was outlined in one of our textbooks, but basically works through interactive play and interactive conversations and different activities to help the child pull out the trauma and really separate the trauma from reality and put meaning to that and help them kind of regain some of the things they may have lost, like I had previously stated. I am, like I said, hesitant to start that with Ashley because of my short period of time that I have left there. I will only be there obviously until May, and so I am hesitant to start uncovering some of the trauma and digging deeper into it with her, given that I will not have a long time frame to really work on that, and I don't want to pull out any trauma that we are not going to be able to address appropriately and in a quality manner. Yeah, so that's the case of Ashley. I have emailed out an eco map for you, kind of showing you her different relationships and the positive forces in her life, and the people that she is surrounded by. Thank you.